All right, the Utah Jazz had a perfect outcome tonight. The rookies looked nice. We're seeing improvement across the board. They play the right way, and then they get the loss, which was a massive step towards Cooper Flagg. We'll talk about why. We'll talk a little bit about the Hornets and some of the great things we saw from each of the players. It's the Hoops Nerd Postgame Show. All right, guys, the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, had one of the most perfect outcomes of the season. They looked so good at times tonight. At one point, they were up by like 13 over this Hornets team. And then the Hornets come back and win the game. A perfect outcome for the Jazz. We can talk about the game real quick, but absolutely just enormous for Utah. Yeah, it looks like Utah's at 5th on this standings, but look right there. They are now tied for 3rd in the win column. This was massive. And this was against Charlotte, who adds another win to their total, now at number 2. This was huge. New Orleans is looking really good. Toronto beat the Boston Celtics tonight, and then Utah losing tonight. It really tells you why that Brooklyn Nets, it's why I was crashing out live with all of you last time, because had the Jazz lost to the Nets before, you can see where they would be tonight and making headway. Now, all is not lost. It felt like it last time, and I begged Utah. I begged, and I begged. Please, trade Sexton. We've been begging for a year and a half now. They finally don't play him. And they are in control of their rotations. We'll talk about it, I guess. But then lo and behold, like I said, if you do that, things will change. And look what happens. Look what happens. I told you so ain't a strong enough phrase. I'll tell you that much. And everyone frustrated with me before, guess what? I don't hear anything. Nothing. Absolutely crickets. Crickets. Just a reminder that you should not listen to people online that you wouldn't take advice from in person, right? I'm kind of just reminding myself. Do not listen to those bums on the internet because they don't know what they're talking about and they get real quiet real often. They're not very smart. Sorry. All right, let's go into this. Josh Green played 22 minutes. He was a plus 11. I tell you what, these 4 from the Charlotte Hornets, outside of Josh Green, were incredibly impressive. But even Josh Green, who plays good defense, fits in a role with this Charlotte Hornets team. I mean, they're number 2 in the lottery, so there's things that aren't going perfectly for them. One of the issues is that LaMelo Ball is just so injury prone, but he plays 39 minutes tonight, and they needed every minute from him to succeed. 27 points. Miles Bridges played solid for them as well. It makes you wonder at what point do they pull the plug on some of these players. Post-trade deadline, we'll probably see a lot of resting, and who knows what this team does during trade deadline. There's no way to know. But there are some pieces here and a core here that's really interesting. LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller are really fun. And if this Hornets team adds another top 5 pick to this roster, you can bet this team is going to be really interesting come next season, because then you just add that to this core of, let's say the Hornets win the lottery and you replace Josh Green with Cooper Flagg, you can see really quickly how this team could be really interesting really quick. Utah needs to follow some of the same suit because, they got LaMelo Ball with a nice top 5 pick, whatever he was. I can't remember exactly what pick he was. Brandon Miller went number 2. And if they get another top pick, then it goes really well. And Miles Bridges was someone they drafted. I can't remember if it was around the 10, give or take. So, that's how they've built their team. They've lost a lot of games recently, but at a certain point, it starts to really collect. And when you start to hit, they hit on Ball, they hit on Miller, and if they get another guy and they hit again, then all of a sudden you turn into what the Houston Rockets are, the Detroit Pistons, every single year adding top 5 talent. After a certain amount of time, it really collects. And then all of a sudden, you've got this elite level talent combining and playing together and improving. And lo and behold, players get better with time on the floor. There's this thing where if players practice and have time with the coaching staff, they get better and stronger, and then all of a sudden your team improves. And so this Charlotte Hornets team is on the verge of turning into something really interesting. And they've got other nice pieces across the board. It looks like they played Seth Curry for literally 1 second. I don't know. But, where did they play? I don't think they played him tonight. Terrence Mann has been good for them as well. He might be out with injury, but Nick Smith Jr., he's one I liked in the draft. It's not really looking great. In fact, I'm curious, how bad has he been? Because I really liked him, and then he really dropped, and we're kind of seeing why. I mean, he was one of the big droppers in the draft. Look at this. 38 and 39, 40, although he's shooting it well from three, so that's interesting. He was one I kind of liked in the draft, but man, has it worked out nicely for Utah. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. So Utah does what I wanted. I'm sure they're listening. I'm sure they really care. What does Hoops Nerd have to say? No, they don't care. But what I wanted to happen happened, and Sexton didn't play. Now, can I just say first and foremost, it's so much more fun to watch these young rookies play. Did anyone else watching this game just have a blast and not feel like when Utah was up by 13, I was having a good time? It's one thing to watch John Collins and Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson go out and take 30 field goals combined. It's another to watch Isaiah Collier and Keontae George and Walker Kessler and Cody Williams and Filipowski and Sensabaugh go out and run the show. This was what I wanted, and I know a lot of fans wanted this. Let them go. Let them develop. This is what we wanted. I am not out here to watch Jordan Clarkson take 16 shots. That is not fun. I don't want it. I don't want to watch Sexton take 20 shots. I just don't. Sorry. I am on the train of developing the young players and also adding those players. Like this, wouldn't it be nice if Utah added a number 2 pick like the Charlotte Hornets did during the Wemby draft, right? And they got Brandon Miller. And then they've added LaMelo Ball, and they're going to add another one this time. That's what I want for Utah. That's what I want, and that's what fans want. And this was why this was so much fun and so much better, because the games where they actually succeed and win, if it's the rookies going, then you have more fun because you're watching them overcome, their deficiencies. And it's exciting to see. When it's veterans getting you wins that don't mean anything, it's tough to watch. And it's not fun. So anyways, this was absolutely the most fun I've had in quite a while. Utah coming into this game had won 3 of their last 6. So they come into this one as a 500 team in their last 6 games, which is like seriously alarms going off. This is not where we want to go. And we got to talk about Will Hardy. But when you consider that Utah in their last 6 games has won 3 of their last 6, now 3 of their, 3 and 7 in their last 10. 3 wins puts them at 2. Everyone telling me to calm down. No, this was why. Because it's right there for the taking. The fruit is there to be taken off the tree and enjoyed. And all they have to do is trade Colin Sexton, like we said. Play the rookies. And, before we get into each player and how they did, it also is a reminder why those trades that they should have done last year should have happened. It's what I was talking about last show. This is why. This is why. How do I point to this screen? See, this was why. Rookies succeeding, rookies playing through their mistakes, not rookies, but second-year players in Keontae George, rookies in Collier and Williams and Filipowski, second-year player Bryce Sensabaugh, absolutely balling at times tonight. Just crazy how well he's playing at times. And it's working out. It's how this is supposed to go. This is what it's supposed to be. And, a lot of people are like saying things like, oh, you want to trade Lauri Markkanen. This was why. Because you build these players, they build on the same timeline, and it's how you get the superstar talent. It'll be nice, and I'm trying to manifest it. Trying to manifest Cooper Flagg to Utah Jazz. And the thing is like, even if the Jazz are at the number 5 spot, they still have a really great shot at getting Cooper Flagg. I would have absolutely been dying to be in the number 5 the last 2 seasons, right? I think everyone here would have been absolutely ecstatic if Utah has had the number 5 odds in the lottery, or even just the number 5 pick in the draft, right? It's scary being at 5 because you're either top 4 or you're 6, 7, or 8. That's kind of just how it works, because if you get bumped back, if you're at 5, you're not staying at 5. You're either jumping or going back. And so it's scary, but you do have very, very solid odds to get to the top 4. Better than they had last year going into it at like 8 or whatever they were, and the year before at 9. So it's a good reminder to be happy that they're at 5. But if you can be at 2 or 3, you know what I mean? Because if you're not top 4 and you're 2 or 3, then you're 5, 6, or 7. And that's so much better than if you go into it at 5 and you're at like dropping to like 6, like 7, 8, or 9. You know what I mean? That's the difference. So anyways, this was super vital. It's an incredible loss for Utah for multiple reasons. Now, Cody Williams plays in this one, and he right now is the rookie, and he's the one that's struggling. That's what rookies do. And I think Cody Williams is a little more of a project than maybe people expected, but that's just how it goes. But what's nice about Cody Williams is you're seeing moments from him that give you a lot of hope. He had one play tonight where he was getting absolutely hounded at the three-point line. He keeps his composure, drives to the basket, and scores an and one. And it was huge. And those are the moments you got to be excited about. Yeah, he had, well, it's not showing any turnovers. Yeah, he was a minus 22. He does disappear at times a little bit. But overall, I'm happy with what we're seeing. We're seeing the makings of a nice defender who can hit threes and do a little bit off the dribble. Seems to be a smart player. I mean, he's turning the ball over if he's trying to do too much with his passing, but you get better at that with practice and time, and he'll get there. But we're seeing the makings of it. And the thing is, he's only going to get better by getting these minutes, and that's what we've been talking about. Get him on the floor. This is what this season is about. Utah has to make some moves. And I have people on, Blue Sky and Twitter or whatever, mostly Blue Sky, because Blue Sky's better, but saying like, well, why this is how you do it. You just sit them, just rest them. Well, wouldn't it be better to get something then? Because guess what? Sexton's not going to be on the team in 2 years. He's going to shop and go into the market and get as big a contract as he can. Utah, after next season, has lots of contracts they got to figure out. They still have John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, and Colin Sexton on the books next year. After that, it is open books, but they've got guys that will be going up for contract. All their, Keontae George and Philip and Sensabaugh and Taylor Hendricks, Utah's going to have to figure out contracts for them, and they're going to have cap space to maybe fill in the blanks a little bit, but it makes a lot more sense to go get 3 second-round picks for Colin Sexton than nothing. 100%. I know Utah probably wants a first for Sexton. That's my guess, is why it's holding it up. But you know what's better than holding to your guns and keeping Sexton and just resting him next half? Getting like 3 second-round picks and not missing out on, you know what I mean? And improving your draft position. That's a lot better than losing Sexton for nothing. Micah Potter is a good soldier. He starts with the starting unit. This is what sucks so much, because how much fun could this season have been if this starting lineup was Isaiah Collier, Keontae George, Walker Kessler, Taylor Hendricks, and Cody Williams? I mean, that would have been so much fun. It's just another reminder. Oh my gosh, how much I miss being able to see Taylor Hendricks. It sucks. But give a shout out to Micah Potter, who plays hard, and he's willing to play with this team that's not interested in winning a lot of games, and he goes out and he plays, and he's getting a contract, so can't complain too much, but it's just nice of Micah Potter to be that guy that can fill in that role that Taylor Hendricks would fill. So these rookies have a chance, and Keontae George and Sensabaugh have a chance to play with someone that kind of does what Hendricks would do. Obviously, Hendricks can shoot the three like Potter does, but Hendricks obviously brings more to the table in terms of what he does defensively. And honestly, I mean, what I had so much fun watching tonight and made me so happy, and honestly, is just you could this was the future a little bit. You know, you see Keontae George, Collier, and Kessler on the floor, and they got a 13-point lead, and they only played Collier 26 minutes. I mean, there's a little bit of me wondering, like, they could have gone 36 minutes. They could have played Collier 32 minutes because he was earning it. Look at that. A double-double for Collier with 11 points, 10 assists. But they didn't. It's another good sign because not only is Utah playing really well with these rookies, they have to actually kind of pull back. Will Hardy, I actually think, and this is not hyperbole, he might be the best coach in the league. One of, at least. It's unbelievable what he turns this Jazz team into night after night, what he's doing. He plays Micah Potter at power forward, rookie Isaiah Collier, who a month ago teams were literally not guarding at all. And, Keontae George, who his first 6 games just absolutely struggled. And these guys are up 13 on the Hornets, looked like just absolutely awesome. And so they have to go to the bench to clean things up. Drew Eubanks played 20 minutes tonight. Elijah Harkless played 21. Will Hardy's incredible. To make this team that solid is unbelievable because look, Charlotte absolutely went out to win this game. Miles Bridges, 38 minutes. Mark Williams, 36. By the way, Mark Williams had 31 points and 13 rebounds tonight. He was a monster. That's just an interesting little tidbit. He played 36. Kessler plays 27. Mark Williams kind of won that matchup tonight. He was amazing. But anyways, impressive stuff. Speaking of Kessler, he had a nice night. Plays only 27, though. Mark Williams was absolutely a beast tonight, but Kessler was 27 minutes, 11 points, 8 rebounds. If he plays his normal 32 to 36, you obviously have the double-double. Kessler's just becoming such a force in the league. Keontae George, we finally get to see Keontae George back, and he looked back to his kind of better self tonight. 40% from the field isn't the greatest, but one of these was a half-court heave, and that's also with the three-point line. So for me, it's like 9 for 21, which is low 40s. You'll take it. 40% from three if you take away the heave. And then 6 assists, 26 points, 6 assists. He was really great. He had, at one point, just a huge plus-minus, but Utah, they found a way to lose this game. It was incredible. And you got to give credit to the Hornets. I mean, LaMelo Ball willed them to a win at the end of this. Pretty awesome. But that's really all I got. He's just turning into a solid rotational player that, I think if he just continues to develop, he's on that nice, positive trajectory. I think he has a chance to be really nice if you pair him with someone like a Cooper Flagg. If you have Cooper Flagg on the floor at the 3, Lauri Markkanen at the 4, Kessler at the 5, Keontae George at the 1, and then I guess you're deciding what's your player at number 2. Maybe it's Collier, maybe it's Sensabaugh, and then you got to figure out what you're doing with Taylor Hendricks. I mean, that team gets pretty interesting really quick, and if Keontae just continues to develop, that's going to be really exciting. We got to be careful now because Isaiah Collier's getting to the point where he's becoming an absolute weapon. He was awesome tonight, and he is getting more confident shooting that 3. I think, how many games in a row is that where Collier, in fact, let's look it up. I want to look up Isaiah Collier. Let's see. Let's look him up. I'm kind of curious because this is another game where he has a 3-point shot. This is an incredible sign of development for him. Look at this. So that's been the big thing with Collier, has been the shooting, right? Everyone's having an issue because he can't shoot. Well, things are changing. So look at this. 9 for 16 against Brooklyn. He had the best game of his career against Brooklyn. He's the reason the Jazz won in a lot of ways. Although him combined with Sexton, you don't play Sexton, you don't win that game. That's what we talked about. By the way, we need a swig of this. Probably not a good idea to be drinking Mountain Dew at 10:15, but oh well. Anyways, 3 for 6 from 3 last game, 1 for 2 the game before. I guess he took 2 against Miami, missed them both, but he made 1 against Atlanta. So this is now 4 of his last 5 games. He's made a 3. He's shooting, I guess in these games, he's shooting 35%. But, after tonight, that's 1 for 4 added to this. So it's like low 30s. If you told everyone that Isaiah Collier would improve to a low 30s three-point percentage shooter earlier in the year, I think people would be pretty ecstatic because everything else we're seeing from Isaiah Collier is phenomenal. He is driving to the basket. He plays with absolute force and strength and gravity when he's driving. If you combine that with the ability to shoot the 3, he becomes really interesting, really fast. Because on defense, he's also kind of a terror. I know he had 5 turnovers tonight. He's a rookie. That's fine. 10 assists, 5 turnovers. It's whatever. But he's also, I know he didn't have a steal tonight, but he's a great steals guy. He is an absolute fire hydrant when other guards are trying to back him down. They just give up. It's very Baron Davis-esque with the strength he plays with. Obviously not the same caliber and maybe not yet, but that same kind of strength and physicality that Baron Davis had, where he plays like a bruising running back. Isaiah Collier is the same way. On defense, he's like a freaking NFL strong safety. He is so strong. And so when they try to back him down, they just can't do it. And so he is really interesting and really fun. And I'll be honest, I would love to see Utah run lineups with Key and Collier, because maybe that's who you run next year. Utah's having a great night. Look at that. Looks like Golden State's going to beat Minnesota. So that's it. Oh, geez. They just got within 1. Game over, baby. Golden State wins over Minnesota. So that's huge for the tank as well, by the way. But so Utah's going to get there. Hopefully they get Cooper Flagg in this draft, or at least a top 3 to 5 pick. And then they're going to get the Minnesota pick. And if things go how you hope, then that's going to be also a lottery pick. Utah's coming out of this draft with another pair of really good prospects like they did with George and Hendricks. And if they go into this draft and they add some more really nice pieces, I would love to see Key and Collier next year starting with Cooper Flagg and Taylor Hendricks and I guess Walker Kessler. And that's a freaking fun lineup. That is a lot of fun, and you can just grow. I mean, think about that. And I guess Utah's got to figure that out, because I'm sure they're going to play Lauri Markkanen. But all of a sudden, if you have a defense that has Walker Kessler protecting the rim, you have elite defense from Taylor Hendricks if he comes back fully healthy and he improves, even more defensively, shooting threes, driving to the basket, things like that. Then Cooper Flagg. I mean, that right there, 3 positive defenders. When's the last time Utah had 3 positive defenders on the floor at the same time? When's the last time? It's been years. In fact, you could argue they didn't have it at a single moment in time during the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert years. Obviously, they had the defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert. But then after Rudy Gobert, you didn't have a single positive defender. It was 1 insanely good defender and 4 bad ones. If you have a team that's, if Taylor Hendricks develops, and this is all hypothetical, I'm not thinking about Lauri Markkanen. I'm just thinking about the young players. But if you have Walker Kessler, Taylor Hendricks, Cooper Flagg, Isaiah Collier, I guess, you know what? I'm going to throw him out there. Cody Williams looks projecting to be a very positive defensive player who can shoot threes. He may be off the bench, but who cares? That was a bad draft. And if you get a rotation player that can defend and shoot threes and is 6'9" or whatever Cody Williams is, 6'8", whatever. I mean, come on. you all of a sudden turn yourself into a really interesting thing. And what's the thing that Utah has absolutely struggled with? Defense. You put defensive talent on the floor, things get exciting quick. And we actually, during the playback, by the way, if you want to watch the game with me live and you can watch the stream through playback with me, the thing we talked about that's incredible, if you look at the Jazz offense, if you cut out the first 6 games of this season, you just act like those didn't happen, and you just take the Jazz from game 7 until now, the Jazz have the number 12 offense in the NBA right now with this roster. Isn't that crazy? You know what I mean? So if Keontae George continues to develop, Isaiah Collier develops a three-point shot at an average NBA level, because what he does at the rim is special stuff. If Taylor Hendricks comes back healthy and can be the three-point shooter we've seen him to be, I think he projects to be a nice three-point shooter. Utah's gonna keep him around for a long time. You can count on that. Walker Kessler continues to progress like he's doing. Offensive rebounds. So his numbers continue to be efficient like this. Look at that. 5 defensive rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds in 27 minutes. Amazing. You know what I mean? If Walker Kessler's going out there and giving you 14 and 11, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome. And then you combine that with Cooper Flagg, who's looking like an absolute superstar. I mean, this Jazz team gets real interesting, real fast. And then if you can somehow just play the young guys, and only the young guys, I'm telling you, just play the youth, bring in some G League guys that you can play with the second unit. I'm just kind of dreaming here, guys. Just dream with me, baby. But, you know, you just have some G League guys you bring in, you rest guys here and there, blah, blah, blah. If you get another big-time pick in the next draft, I mean, you can just see it. Tonight was like the first night in a while that I was just kind of at peace. I tell you what, just really happy, really impressed with Utah finally doing the right thing, letting the rookies go. This is what we've wanted the whole time. And lo and behold, it works. You can see it working. Will Hardy coached this like an absolute masterclass. Like, let's talk about Will Hardy. Well, yeah, you know what? We just got to talk really quickly before we talk Will Hardy. Bryce Filipowski is an absolute, this is the best game he's had in like 3 or 4 games. He's had a few kind of stinkers, but he still makes the right play and he still does the right thing. Like even on his bad nights, he'll get like, remember the other night he was like 0 for 5, but he had 5 assists. He's just kind of like a Kelly Olynyk where he's just a smart, good basketball player, and no doubt is going to be a part of this team for a long time as well. What an absolute find. Someone told me, like, what do second round picks do? Well, it got you Kyle Filipowski. And you know what? It's worth trying. And they act as currency too. Like if you need to fix salary issues so things can go the way you want. But Filipowski's second round pick. So anyone who says like trading Sexton for 3 second round picks isn't worth it, come on. It improves your draft position. And you know what? Filipowski is good. And you know what else you do with second round picks? You take swings for the fences. Because who cares? Like I agree that second round picks in certain situations are not worth it. But if you can go out and just draft an absolute athlete, you know what I mean? Like let's say there's that guy in the draft that's, you know, that hasn't been playing basketball for a very long time, but he's 7 feet tall and he can jump through the roof. Do it. Take them. See if they can develop. Who knows? You never know. Like Oscar Tshiebwe might be a player for Utah in the future. He had 30 points and 22 rebounds last night in the G League. You never know. So you use them on guys like that. You never know. But anyways, Filipowski, awesome. And Bryce Sensabaugh is turning into an utter weapon. I mean, at times he looks so good and so clean. Tonight, 19 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. I mean, come on. He's coming in and absolutely scaring the heck out of me because he is just turning into an elite scorer. And this is year 2 for him. Honestly, at the beginning of this season and last season, I was a little worried because he could not hold on to the ball. like people would give Keontae George a hard time for the turnovers. I tell you what, you watched Sensabaugh earlier in the year, and he could not hold on to it, and especially last year. So you got to give credit to Sensabaugh, who's figuring it out, working hard, and getting better. Impressive stuff for him to just turn it around. And then now you combine it with consistent shooting. He's getting more and more comfortable shooting the ball, especially on like catch and shoot threes. But the guy can absolutely shoot the threads off. He is a smart player. And the thing that I was kind of hoping we'd see last year, he's doing now. He's making those little mid-range pull-ups. And that gets pretty exciting because if you have a player like him who's a legit like 6'5", he's not small at all. I think is he listed at 6'5"? I think that's what he is. Yeah, 6'5". That's good size. And if he's coming off the bench and he's like someone that comes in and you know that he's going to just shoot the lights out, I mean, that's pretty great. And then the fact that he can go in and kind of work his way into the mid-range and just knock the shot down when the defense breaks down your offense, because it happens all the time, and you got to have players that can create in those situations. It's why in NBA practices, if you go to an NBA practice, you're going to see drills where they just do one-on-one. Like that's an NBA drill. That's something you're going to see in NBA practices all the time. Just one-on-one, because guess what? It really matters. You have to be able to score, because as effective as your offense is, as much as you practice your sets and your plays and your motion offense and whatever you're doing, other teams are just as sophisticated defensively to break it down. And so in certain situations, it really comes down to matchups. And so to have a guy like Bryce Sensabaugh who can go in and he's 6'5", and if he can bully a smaller guy and get that mid-range shot, I mean, that's huge. That is huge. That's playoff stuff. So I'm super excited about Sensabaugh. He has a lot of things to be happy about. Now, I think he's got to get in a little bit more elite shape, basically just so he can just play, the same way from minute 1 to minute 32, and also to be able to defend. That's the big thing with this team is Utah's going to keep drafting, and they're going to keep drafting guys that can defend the ball. And so if you can't defend, you've got to be either just transformational offensively, or you better just become a good defender. Anyways, okay, so we were going to talk. Will Hardy is unbelievable, guys. He is in absolute command here. There was a quote where he said he was really happy with where things are going, and so am I. This is remarkable to have this team. Look at this. Cody Williams, rookie, who was in the G League not too long ago, struggling, but he's playing the right way. He's doing what he's supposed to, and he's playing and he's going to the right spots. He's well coached. Micah Potter is I don't know. He might be an NBA rotational player, but he's more of like someone that could win MVP in the EuroLeague, is my opinion. Walker Kessler is a legitimate rotational big and is just getting better and better and better, and for sure a starting level center. And he's just, he went from last year to being like, what's going on, to now being like, we probably have to keep this guy because he's turning into something special. Keontae George never played point guard in his entire career. At Baylor, he was playing small forward. In fact, that's what's going on with VJ Edgecombe, by the way. Driving me crazy. I was watching Baylor last night just because I wanted to watch VJ Edgecombe, and I don't know about how their coach goes at Baylor, because every time I watch them, I don't know what's going on. But it's very much just let the guards do it, and they always have these, I don't know. So anyways, Keontae George learning the point guard position, and then Isaiah Collier still, I mean, I guess he can shoot now, but he could not shoot the ball. And this team was up 13 on the Charlotte Hornets, and LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges and Mark Williams and all those guys. Will Hardy had this team winning that game and far and away, and Will Hardy had to lower the minutes. Look at this. He only played 30 minutes. He had Collier. He had to play him 26. He had to play Kessler just 27 for this to happen. So not only are they going up and ahead, it's basically like the Incredibles meme where the dad is watching the kid run the race and he's like, oh, go. No, hold back. That's like literally what Will Hardy's doing. It's remarkable. That is not easy to do. Don't believe me? Go coach a basketball game. Go coach an AAU game. It goes so fast. And he is not, this ain't like junior Jazz. He is coaching NBA players with NBA contracts, playing for NBA money, and he's in complete control. It's incredible. And the other thing that's really impressive with all of this, and I'm sure Filipowski probably wants more minutes, but Sensabaugh looks happy to me. They look happy. Like, Key looked like, I mean, he was just smiling and having fun out there. I think Key loves Collier. You can just tell that he just gets a kick out of Collier. Collier, you can just tell, is a funny guy. You can just see in his face, and when he talks, it's just like you can tell that is a great guy to be around. They've got great guys. Kessler is about as nice a guy as you could imagine. Cody Williams, same thing, great guy. Lauri Markkanen, they've just got a locker room filled with great guys, coachable, listen, they're playing hard, they're improving. There is not a night where you're not seeing these guys play hard. There's no one dogging it. This ain't like the Portland Trail Blazers where you see DeAndre Ayton. I hate watching DeAndre Ayton play. I hate it. But even like someone like Drew Eubanks, who's kind of in the Ayton role this year, I mean, the guy like was absolutely pumping up Cody Williams after that and one. I mean, that was one of my favorite little moments of the season. If you didn't watch the game, go watch it. In fact, let's watch it. I don't know if it'll show it, but let's look at, this is a culture thing. I'm not going to get emotional, but I'm getting a little bit. But it just makes me so happy because Williams has struggled, and you can just see earlier in this year, he was he was getting down, and it was because things were not going great. But look at this. This is the one I'm talking about. First off, let's go back here. Look at what's going on here. First off, Utah has everything spread correctly. They have guys clear out near half court to give space, and this is a chance for Cody Williams to absolutely do his thing and get a shot to do something. And here's what happens. Josh Green, who's a solid defender, he comes out and just absolutely hounds him. Look at this. He comes out. Oh, well, before the play, Cody Williams gives it back to, is this Mills? And Mills gives it back to Williams. Williams goes, scores the and one here. Look at this. And one, runs into Drew Eubanks. Look at this. That was amazing. Like, if that's not culture, I don't know what is. Let's go back. My favorite part is just like the end here. Look at this. See that? See that? That's amazing. That's what you want. And that's part of the coaching staff, too. This is a culture of growth, development, and support. A rising tide raises all ships, and that's what's going on with this Jazz team. It is absolutely a blast to watch, and I am so excited. Like, Colin Sexton's the same way. Colin Sexton's great. Jordan Clarkson, too. You can't argue that they aren't great guys, too. But it is one thing to have great guys. It's another thing to have all these young players who are also great guys developing and growing together, right? And, some of the things, if you want to go watch the play where in Cleveland where Kevin Love throws the ball at Colin Sexton, just absolutely just launches it at him. Colin Sexton has fit into this culture. There was a point in Will Hardy's rookie year coaching, because he's a rookie too. He's a first-time head coach. Not looking like a rookie anymore. But he would lay into those players, like to the point where it got like uncomfortable. And now we're seeing the dividends. It is absolutely a sign and proof that a culture of accountability that is also built on support and honestly like meritocracy absolutely pans out to everyone being happy. Because if laziness is rewarded on the defensive end, like Quinn Snyder used to reward laziness and bad defense and bad play, and then used to blame it on the players and not himself for making the rotational changes he's supposed to, Will Hardy changes it all the time. All the time. This starting unit has never started together. And they played like they have all year. They were awesome. And Will Hardy, on top of creating this culture, on top of coaching them up, developing rookies, and you got to give credit to the coaching staff too around him. But he's also holding the minutes so that Utah accomplishes their goal with the front office. I was hard on the Jazz front office, partly because I was mad and tired. 4 games in 6 nights. Tough on freaking me, too. But this is what we wanted to see. So I'm really grateful to Ryan Smith. I'm really grateful to Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck. And I'm really grateful to Will Hardy and what they're doing. They are building a cohesive thing. Now, please, trade deadline is February 6th. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Keep this up, because not only is this more fun, but it is actually better for the long term, for like the things we've talked about all year. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get this done. So this was incredible. Makes me super happy. This is exactly what we should be doing. We're seeing all the good signs, all of them. Now, could you nitpick and be like, well, we'd like Key to be shooting 11 for 22? Sure. But he's going to get there. And he's already shown incredible nights. You know, Cody Williams, 1 for 4 from 3, not the greatest. 2 for 8 from the field, not the greatest. But he's improving, and we're seeing the defense. There's things you can nitpick, but overall, we're seeing the rookies develop and get better. And it's an absolute credit to the coaching staff. Utah's bringing in 3 rookies again next year, and so they've got big-time decisions. But they've got to make decisions now for next year, because you gotta think ahead. That's what I think. I was so frustrated last game where I was just kind of despairing. And thank you to all of you who sent me nice messages. I mean, people were like, "Is James okay? Is his mental health okay?" Probably not. But anyways, next year Utah brings in 3 rookies. You have to make the decisions now for then, not just now, not just February 6th. February 6th now is deadline in some ways, because Utah's not a contender. Utah is not playing for the championship this year. Sorry. If you think the Jazz are going to potentially win the NBA title, it's not happening. Can't be short-term thinking. What Utah does now affects next year. And when you look at the Jazz contracts, Sexton, Clarkson, and Collins both have their contracts go through next year. So Utah has to think about that. If that means bringing on a bad contract and waiving them, fine. Or if you just bring in a bad contract, so what? You know what I mean? If the Wizards come a-calling and they want to try, bring them on and don't play them. But you've got to do things so that next year you are giving the new players time, because you want to go for AJ DeBonsa. I'm sorry, he is going to be transformational as well. And then it's let's go, baby. It's let's go time. You can see the timeline here. Do I need to bring up Spot Track, or do you trust me? Just trust me tonight, okay? Utah's books are pretty clean. Well, they're extremely clean after next year. But in Collins, Sexton, and Clarkson, their contracts run through next year. Can you figure something out to clean the books next year so that you're playing only young guys, right? That's what you got to think about, because next year, what you're doing now, you need to think about what you're doing next year too. Now, if Utah gets top 3 pick this draft and gets lucky and gets top 3 pick next year, incredible, because at that point it's go time. It's go time. Then you've got, either Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, or Dylan Harper from this year, and then the following year it's either AJ DeBonsa, Cam Boozer. I can't remember some of the other guys. It's a good draft as well. You add 2 of those players, and then you combine them with guys like Taylor Hendricks, Keontae George, Walker Kessler. It's here we go. That's when you think about maybe going out and getting some vets. That's when you think about a trade, right? That's when you think about, can we go out and get like a star that's kind of available? Kind of like what New York did with getting Mikal Bridges. Like, Utah should not have been going after Mikal Bridges last offseason. That's the stuff that makes me crazy. What is that? But now you can see the road to contender, and like legit contender with that type of talent on the roster. So anyways, guys, that's basically the show. I am so happy with where things are at. And after tonight, look at how nice that looks. 10-10-10. Charlotte, oh, look at that. Charlotte with that win tonight, they just updated it. Look at that. So Utah is almost at a four-way tie for number 2. Can you understand why I was despairing? Can you see me? Can you feel me a little bit? That's why. That's why. To all those people that were saying things on the interwebs, that's why. All right, let's pull up the music. It's nights like tonight that I want to play freaking Marvel Rivals till 2 in the morning, like back in the day. I'd die from it because I'm getting old, but it makes me want to. All right, let's get the music going, baby. Let's get this going because it's a great night to be a Jazz fan. This is where we want to be. Shout out to Will Hardy. Shout out to Danny Ainge. Shout out Ryan Smith and Justin Zanuck as well. Good job. That's what I'm talking about, baby. I can't even yell. My stupid throat is defunct. All right, guys. Utah sits at 5th, but more or less they're in a 4-way tie for the number 2. Another win for Charlotte, and guess what? Utah is in the driver's seat. Look at that, 5-5 in their last 10 for New Orleans. They're legit solid. So things are legit there. You just can't keep screwing this tank up, okay? It really matters. All right, let's see what would happen if the lottery was tonight. Boom! Yeah! Number 3, that's Ace Bailey, 6'10", elite shot maker coming to Utah. Give him to Will Hardy. I have no doubt he turns him into a star. 100%. How fun would that be to have Ace Bailey come onto this Utah Jazz team with Keontae George, Collier, Taylor Hendricks, and so on. And he has the physical tools to be a nice defender. Let's go. Man, I can't yell without hiccuping, guys. It's messed up. Incredible. And then maybe these guys get dumb and don't take Cooper, but he's going number 1 for sure. And Dylan Harper's going 2. It would be interesting to see what Utah does with 3. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars tonight. And by the way, make sure that if you're watching and you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you want to support the channel, I appreciate every single one of you who supports me. It means a lot. You can join the channel. These are the All-Stars. These all get the special nicknames. You're the executive producers of the show. Shout out to you guys. I love you guys. Let's give a shout out to Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. Baby Elliot Madsen. See ya, Alexa later. Christian House Money to Haas. The Outlaw Jesse James Nelson. Jordan the Goat Besserell. Austin R. Grant Editor Extraordinaire. KG10 to TH5. And Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. And by the way, look at that. Number 15 to Utah, baby. Guys, like I said, now I got the hiccups. Like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you